Yes!
Assassin's Creed 2 Boogaloo, Italiano Addiamano, it's a me Mario! No, seriously, somebody says that in this game.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Completionist. This week, we're going to be doing a game from a franchise that's been getting a lot of flack lately, from a company that has recently become synonymous with annual iterative open world titles and microtransactions. And while there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, I just want to take you back a few years to a series that was exciting and new. Assassin's Creed 2. I admit, I really did enjoy my original playthrough of the first game, and Altair was alright. But looking back, some of the mechanics are pretty tedious, and it's hard to connect with someone like Altair on a personal level. So when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, like a lot of people out there, our new protagonist ended up being my favorite in the series thus far. In fact, I'd say that to this day, it's still popularly known as the best entry in the series.
But Badman, what about Assassin's Creed 4? That one's the best cause it's pirates. And aren't you supposed to be the completionist? How come you're not playing Altair's Chronicles for DS or Bloodlines for PISP?
You sort of just answered your own question. As you know, I'm a huge fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I deeply enjoyed Black Flag. But I wouldn't be the completionist if I didn't go in order. And you know what? Complain all you want about Altair Chronicles and Bloodlines, but aside from maybe Liberation, the handheld Assassin's Creed games are squarely mediocre. It's just not worth my time. Altair Chronicles. Look at it.
Ba 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 ba.
Bloodlines. Donated.
Ba 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 crap.
The second game begins almost immediately following the first one. Granted, at this point, if you haven't played Assassin's Creed 2, I'd imagine you wouldn't be watching this review. So take a look at our episode on Assassin's Creed 1. We'll wait for you.
Click! Don't forget to come back. We'll stay here frozen till you return. It's like Fry's dog, but way less sad. Oh, now I'm kind of bummed.
Anyway, your ally, Lucy, or Kristen Bell, shows up, and it turns out she's a stone-cold killer who resorts to murdering people to help Desmond escape, which he does again by tapping into the eagle vision he received from the bleeding effect. The two fight their way out of Abstergo, but not before Desmond climbs into the Animus one last time so that Lucy can transfer all of his files. We then witness the birth of Desmond's next ancestor of note, Ezio Auditore de Firenze, who lived in Florence, Italy during the Renaissance.
Reminds me of Fallout 3. Is Liam Neeson our father?
Lucy then whisks Desmond away to a modern-day assassin's hideout, where they meet up with two other bookish members of the Order, historian and analyst Sean Hastings, and Rebecca Crane, a scientist who created her own version of the Animus 2.0.
Wow, what a creative name.
They then explain to Desmond that he needs to get in their new Animus and relive Ezio's life, so that Desmond will learn to be an assassin himself by intensifying the bleeding effect from Animus memories into his body. At the same time, the group also wants to find the remaining pieces of Eden before the Templars do. Desmond rejoins Ezio just as his family is forced to go into hiding after being betrayed during an attempt at a political revolution in Florence. His father and brothers are hanged, and he's left with his uncle Mario at their family's countryside villa to watch over his emotionally fragile mother and sister.
Don't you recognize me? It's me, Mario!
Really?
Mario reveals that Ezio is the newest in a long line of assassins and trains him so that he can exact revenge on all the people who conspired against his family.
Isn't that just the plot of Kill Bill?
It's a tale of revenge, yes. He travels across Italy, murdering the high-ranking betrayers and meeting various people along the way, including Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci helps him by building new weapons and equipment, and also helps to translate ancient writings by Altair. As Ezio assassinates his way up the ladder, he eventually finds that Rodrigo Borgia, the leader of the Templars, is to blame, and that he has an artifact called the Apple of Eden that belonged to Altair hundreds of years previous. Borgia wants to topple the Medici family and take over all of Italy, but he also believes that he is the prophet named in old accounts of the Pieces of Eden, and that he's meant to bring the Templars to a fabled location known only as the Vault, which is supposed to have valuable items and pieces of Eden inside.
Will Borgia succeed and conquer the world, or will our hero stop him in the nick of time? Find out in a few minutes in the final level section.
All kidding aside though, as complicated as the story sounds, it's well acted and well told to a point that it could work as a standalone film. Ezio Auditore is way more interesting than Altair. He has this charm. He's great with the ladies, but he's stupid and young. With the death of his family, Ezio becomes a man searching for answers and revenge. The character growth that we see in Ezio is way more compelling and more, what's the word I'm looking for, cohesive in comparison to the first.
So close to the end now, but no closer to understanding what any of it was for.
And maybe it was just me, but the addition of more widely known historical figures like Da Vinci and Borgia gave me a better feeling of immersion into that time period. Let's find out more about that in presentation.
Are we going to meet other historical characters as well? Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, Splinter, April O'Neil?
Across the board, Assassin's Creed 2 is much more immersive than the original, and in fairly broad strokes, I think it has to do more with the fact that in more than one area, the game is much more relatable for the player. Besides Da Vinci being great, Ezio's kind of a douche, but he's lovable and a big goofball. The interface is much more easy to understand, especially while collecting stuff, and the whole story's told much more cinematically with cameras that look more at home in movie theaters than on PS1.
Gah, it looks like an elementary school diorama.
Plus, the story hits better because while it's still about this confusing ancient alien heavy Bible apocalypse stuff, it's set against the story of a man wanting justice for the murder of his family. It draws you in, and it's like a gateway drug to immersion, getting you past the weird mocap awkwardness and small variety of NPC models.
Oh hey, sup Giuseppe? Monica? Oh hey, other Giuseppe? Mamma mia! Wait, am I being racist?
But I love you, noble lord!
Speaking of which, if I haven't outright said it yet, the production value of the game is awesome. Graphically, Kristen Bell's character looks a lot more like Kristen Bell. Nolan North returns as Desmond, perfect as always, with the voice actor of Ezio, Robert Craig Smith, nailing the confident and young Italian assassin.
You know who else has an awesome voice? Scott Stapp from Assassin's Creed. So I'ma run fast, I'm gonna make my escape. Game on, let's stab there. I don't take the stairs, climbing takes me higher. In a chase where gods will free, climbing takes me higher. In a race through bloody streets.
And how could we forget the lovable Stephen Merchant as Sean Hastings, an analyst?
It requires a great deal of concentration to keep it all moving, so you'll forgive me if I don't have time to play meet and greet.
Remember back in 09 when you first tossed this sucker in? That beautiful sunlight, day and night cycles, running along the rooftops, the sweet looking outfit? I don't even care how much white and red stand out in literally every environment the game puts you in. Ezio looks awesome, and he has 2 hidden blades. 2? A 4-year-old could tell you why that's cool.
HE double hockey sticks, yeah! Get that guy a skateboard and some shades! There it is.
Music-wise, the Assassin's Creed games do well. I can't really remember a theme song from any of the games because they all sound the same. It doesn't ruin the immersion by any means, but it doesn't necessarily put a tune in my head. At the very least, Assassin's Creed cinematic storytelling is there, regardless of how over-accentuated the mouth movements may be. I still really love how it looks, feels, and sounds today, and back then, it blew me away. Assassin's Creed 2 takes everything we loved about the first game and improves on it so much more. More challenging, yet more intricate with execution. There's a certain grace to the overall feel of the game.
Graceful killing!
One of my biggest problems with the first game was the pacing being yanked back and forth from present-day Desmond to the past of Altair. This problem has been addressed as you're not removed nearly as often, and when you are, Desmond as a character evolves. He starts to take what he's learned from Ezio and applies it to himself. Climbing is just as cool as it was last time, and glitches way less. Running and jumping is always way more dynamic, and maybe it's his animations or his speed or something, but it just feels better. Hiding and fighting too.
I got the perfect thing! Where I should go, away today to be a man and kill again. I'll take my blade and gun in hand, climb up the tower in foreign land with arms wide open next to the haystack. Welcome to the ground. I didn't make a sound with arms wide open. I am like the rain. I lost some blood. Gotta redo everything with arms wide open.
Altair was a cool idea, but was executed fairly clunkily. Assassin's Creed 2's combat is a lot more reactive and exciting, and it's very visually rewarding when you manage to perform well. Being Ezio is just cooler than being Altair. There's less of a barrier between you sitting on the couch and you running along the rooftop stabbing bad guys. Also, I like that all of the collectibles and side missions come along with plot elements and fun side information. For example, the Eden puzzles were so much fun to solve. You had to look at real-life paintings, scriptures, or cinematic events in history and decipher the hidden message related to Eden. And if you solved it correctly, you were given a single frame of a look to be a film. It made all the repetitive tasks worth it.
Please, scatter my codex pages so that my ancestor may go on a fetch quest for them in the currently inconceivable future.
Aw, come on, Greg.
Love, Altair.
The side missions in this game return, and while they seem very tedious, they don't feel that way. In the first game, each area had specific flags for each zone, right? Well, with Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio's mother refuses to talk since the slaying of her husband and son. Ezio's brother, early in the game, finds a feather with Ezio gifting it to him. The side mission of Ezio's mother is to collect 100 of these feathers. While they're not necessarily for plot progression, you feel more connected to this side quest because of the implications of its history. Combat has evolved enough to not get us stale. There's now a few different swords and maces which all handle just a little bit different from one another. You also got 2 hidden blades which are great for doing dual assassinations. And you can advance parry attacks from oncoming enemies, sometimes killing them with their own weapons.
But if all else fails, just shoot him.
With the addition of having a home base, the family villa acts as a neat little hub that you can upgrade and deck out with cool stuff. Since it generates increasingly large amounts of new money to spend on things, it really feels like you're progressing.
Plus, swimming!
Oh yeah, apparently in Assassin's Creed 1, they explained the fact that Altair can't swim as a glitch in the in-game Animus system. But here in Assassin's Creed 2, it's awesome to swim through Renaissance Italy, and you can even hide from pursuers in the water.
Neato! It's a good thing there's no such thing as Templar sharks. Yet.
And speaking of hiding, there's a whole notoriety system to deal with that has to deal with developing a bad reputation with city guards and making it better by bribing heralds, assassinating corrupt politicians, and taking down wanted posters. You know, breaking the law. I mean, I know the assassins are the good guys in the story, but you're still living on the underbelly of society like an outcast. And the notoriety system nails it. It's cool to feel like you're such a badass that you gotta hide it.
Fun to do bad things.
Plus, depending on which faction's cape you wear, you're treated differently in each city, which is fun to experiment with, and can actually help you with certain missions a little. When it comes to playstyle, there are no incentives urging you to step out of the box and be creative. Most of the time you'll be following the same combat structure throughout the entirety of the game, but this is no different from the previous installment.
What if I got a money bonus for switching it up every once in a while? Or what if different unlocks were connected to using different equipment, like in Call of Duty?
Hey, those are actually pretty good ideas.
Or what if you got to hear a different, legally short enough for YouTube snippet from a different Michael Jackson song every time you killed someone with a new weapon?
You ruined it. You were doing great and then you ruined it right at the end. More so with Assassin's Creed 2 than the first, we time hop quite a bit. Over the course of this game, Ezio goes from being a young teenager to a young man, and this journey only makes him grow stronger. Ezio and Borgia have a showdown in Venice, and just as Borgia almost kills Ezio, all the people who've helped him thus far arrive and reveal themselves to be assassins as well. Borgia flees, and Ezio recovers the Apple of Eden. Ezio is officially inducted into the Order, named the true prophet meant to stop the Templars, and decides he's going to go after Borgia and stop him once and for all.
You killed my family. I'm peeved. I'm a killer. Sworn to the creed. Above all the rafters, I'll fly and I'll stab you through the eye. Your sacrifice.
I don't think so.
Fast forwarding a little bit, Borgia is now Pope, and Ezio's at the Vatican to kill him and to get to the vault, which is supposedly under the Vatican. Apparently, Borgia's staff, known as the Palpal Staff, is also a piece of Eden, and Borgia thinks that he can open the vault with it. Ezio uses the Apple of Eden to clone himself. This is conceptually cool, but has little to offer in terms of challenge or neat set pieces, and the real last fight is just,
Wait, it's a fist fight with the Pope?
yeah.
A fist fight with the Pope? Where they, box and discuss religion? Are you freaking serious? And then you just choke him out till he gives up?
Yeah, it's kind of badass that he spares Borgia, but it's a super unsatisfying final act that makes the crazy sci-fi stuff that comes after it feel kind of weird. Then you meet Minerva, who's a ghost from an ancient prehistoric civilization. She talks directly to Desmond through time about Armageddon. Civilization is lost unless somehow Desmond can save the world. At this precise moment, the Templars show up and you do a worse version of Ezio's combat in real life while you escape to a secret cabin somewhere. But when it was all said and done, the fourth wall breaking was intriguing, and I was really excited for Assassin's Creed 3 and the end of the story.
Well, there's a bunch of games before you get to 3, and you don't want to get to 3.
I've never played up to 3 before.
Oh, you'll see. You'll see.
Just like Assassin's Creed 1, much of the extra content in this game revolves around collecting stuff scattered across the game world. But at least this time, there's some tangible or at least solid story-based rewards for most of your efforts. The basic side missions are races, courier missions, beating people up, and assassinations. They're basically just fun little extra things to do, and you get sync and money for doing it. Next is renovating your villa. True, you feel naturally invested because it is your home base, but the amount of money you generate also raises over time. The more you expand, the more new features you unlock. Upgrading each of the shops all 3 times near the villa will get you discounts at each corresponding type of shop in the rest of the world. You can also track your completion of other side quests here by looking at the models in the armor room. Here's the completed set. Next comes purchasing all the fabrics, weapons, armor, and heck, we're in Europe, so there's paintings too. The benefits of buying new gear is obvious. Better gear. Get all the stuff for an achievement, and a cool art gallery to walk through in your pimped out villa.
Yo, this is where the magic happens.
Now, there are some bonus weapons you can get in this game if you have Bloodlines on the PSP and you've successfully killed certain bosses and conquered plot points. There are also 2 DLC story packs that expand on the future of Ezio a little, involving the sealing away of the Apple of Eden in the Battle of Forlì DLC pack and the aftermath of that battle in the Bonfire of the Vanities DLC pack. In the end, we get a nice wrap-up for the good character that Ezio has become, encouraging the people of Florence to follow their own path. Then the Assassin's Tombs. There are 6 of them in the game, and when you grab the seal from each of them and place them in their place beneath your villa, not only do you get some cool assassin history, but you also unlock the cool black Altair armor. It has the same stats as your ultimate armor, but it never has to be repaired. Cool, right? There are also 8 statues to collect all over the mini-town. Get them all for some nice early money and an achievement. Feathers are not on your map and are even hard to find with Eagle Vision. Collect 50 for a decent hammer and collect 100 for the Auditore Cape, which looks really cool but has the annoying effect of making you totally notorious wherever you go. It's like the opposite of a valuable prize. There are also the chests and viewpoints, which are fun busy work to help kill a few hours, but don't do much besides make it a little easier for you to upgrade something or access more side quests. They are required for full synchronization though, as always. And finally, we have the Glyph Eden puzzles, which are probably one of my favorite collectibles ever. There's 20 of them hidden across the world, placed by the mysterious Subject 16, Desmond's predecessor in the Animus. Collect all 20 and solve the neat puzzles each one comes with, and you get to see a video called The Truth, which reveals even more mind-blowing prehistoric secrets.
Adam, I have it.
Eve.
For the majority of the experience, Assassin's Creed 2 is a joy to play. I've already sung its praises, but overall, I'd really like to make it clear that even today, this game feels like a classic, and I've had many nostalgic conversations with others about it. No one was tired of the franchise at the time. It may be annual now, but it was truly ahead of its time.
Now it's kind of behind.
In terms of achievements, you guys may have noticed that these predate way back to 2009 and 2010. That's because I completed that back in the day, which means for the purpose of this review, I completed the game again, just for you guys. I love you. Most of the problems this game has, like minor graphical glitches, difficult navigation due to poor design at times, and the tedious collection quests, still haven't been ironed out of the series today, even if I do think Unity's problems became blown out of proportion. Assassin's Creed is a great series, and Assassin's Creed 2 is a great candidate for best in the franchise.
Except for the feathers. Those were too hard to find, even with...
So that's Assassin's Creed 2. Is it the best game of all time? That's debatable. But it did set the gold standard for the single most unconventional, annualized blockbuster franchise of the last decade or so. If anything, the worst thing about it is how little has changed since Assassin's Creed 2 has come out. It was a fun game with enough meat on its bones to want to completely devour it, but it still feels totally satisfying after one playthrough. So with that in mind, guys, this game gets our completionist rating of finish it.
Finish it! And after you finish it, be sure to subscribe. And be sure to check out last week's video on Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. And if you really love Mega Man, go check out Super Scope Show's episode on Mega Man as well. And as per usual, go to thatonevideogamer.com for the new Spotify playlist. Now, back to you, Gerard.
That's all time we've got for today, guys, so please, as always, leave your thoughts somewhere on the internet. We have a nice little subreddit called r/thecompletionist if you want to join that community. We also got Instagram, we got Tumblr, or as I used to call it, Tambler. We got twitch.tv/thatonevideogamer for when I'm streaming. I'm getting into streaming a lot more. We're going to be doing that a lot more again. And if you want to help the show, the best way to do that is to head over to patreon.com/thatonevideogamer. We have a bunch of cool tiers set up for you guys. Whether you donate $1 or $10, you get fun incentives, and it's all a good time. The Patreon community is actually one of the cooler communities. It's much more laid back, it's much more fun, and it's really about the celebration of the Completionist and the decks and all the shows we do with the That One Video Gamer branding. Now, if you excuse me, Mark, go ahead and show one of the Creed parodies we did. If you do not understand the Creed reference that we made in this episode, I feel bad for you. Actually, no, I just feel old. I feel really old. I'm old.
Well, I should go away today to be a man and kill again. I'll take my blade and gun in hand, climb up the tower and fall on land with arms wide open next to the haystack. Welcome to the ground. I didn't make a sound with arms wide open. I am like the rain. I lost Gotta redo everything with arms wide open.